What's up, YouTube? It's your boy New Jersey's Finest, and I'm doing a review on new washer dryer set. This here is the LG WM3997 HWA 4.3 cubic foot washer dryer. Right now, as you can see, I have the light on, so you can see it's actually working. It's drying a small load that I have in there. The bottom part, what you can see, isn't just a pedestal. It's actually the Sidekick 1.0 cubic foot washer, which I've used a few times. Actually, I just used it this morning, and it does work very well. You can see the settings that it has. That's your power button. It has the normal right there, intimates, and then you have hand wash. So if you have like a wool sweater, something you want to wash, then over here you have for your sporty stuff, your active wear. Then you have a rinse cycle, spin, and then it can do a self tub clean, which I'll probably run later on today. And then over here you can choose warm water if you want cold, and then you could do extra rinses. I think it's up to four extra rinses you can do if you want to do extra rinse. Let me see. 3, 4. You could do 4 rinses if you want. But take a look. All stainless steel, and it also has, in case you were wondering, it does have the direct drive, which is the technology for the drum. It's not belt driven, and it can balance your clothes when it's spinning very freely. Of course, it has the stainless steel inside, and then it just goes back like that, and it's very quiet when it's washing. I'll do a video with a load in it. It's very quiet, just like this one. Like I said, I have the light on. So if you have an LG washer and you've been curious how or if you can put the light on while you're washing, I'll show you right here. Try to get the glare out. Extra wrench. You hold it down for about 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see how the light went out? Now you do that and the light can stay on. This one has the steam, like I said, for washing. I don't think you can dry and use steam in this unit, but I have done it washing loads, and it's effective. I mean, I've used the allergen for certain articles, sanitary. I haven't used that yet, but what I do like is the True Balance. This washer can hit, I believe it's like 13 or 15 RPMs when it's spinning, and it can spin to the point you can have a heavy load. What I like about the direct drive is if you ever use the washer and you're spinning and the clothes are bouncing back and it's warping, making that boom, boom, boom noise, it doesn't happen in this machine. It has like these bearings, like, I don't have the best way to describe it, is like, yeah, bearings, like marbles or whatever, and they're around the drum. So when it starts to rotate, if it notices, like, say if you have a cover or sheets on one side and they're balled up, and then you have some small articles, when it spins, the bearings kind of release and they rotate. So the side that's uneven, causing the balance issue, it rotates and it catches up to make it basically balance it. And then when it starts spinning even faster, it goes from the vibration to steady. And I mean, this thing takes off when it does on a regular load. So you can see this one is done. And yes, you can change the music. Well, not change it. You can turn it on or off depending on your preference. I don't mind, because if I'm in the living room or whatever and it's washing, I can hear it. Now, as far as the Sidekick, you can get the remote. I've been having a hard time finding it. I actually found somebody on eBay trying to sell it for $100, and I said, there's no way that remote costs us $100. So if anybody has one, or they know where I can order it less than $100, let me know in the descriptions. Of course, if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask, and I can, I can accommodate you with answers. So I told you it has a True Balance. It has the direct drive, which I explained. High efficiency only. Detergent, I've used pods in there, but I mainly use, my high efficiency stuff. So this is where you put the preload. This is your fabric softener. You can take this part out. Like if you want to ever clean this, you just push this down and you gently release it and it comes out. If you want to use powdered detergent, I'm pretty sure you know, you just take this out and you put your powdered detergent. Here you will put your bleach and you just pop it in and you're good to go. As you can see, everything on this side has the steam setting. Okay, so you can choose steam. I believe it's allergen and sanitary is automatically on. So you can wash and not have steam on. You just tap this button. I'll show you. So say if I wanted to wash heavy, notice the light isn't on. So if I decide, oh, you know what, before I start the load, I want to put it on, I just put on steam, and over here is your turbo wash. So you could choose to do turbo wash or not, depends on you, what you want to do. And then you have all your other settings right here. These don't have steam. So if you notice, so if you put it over here for towels, you can't add steam to it. If you wanted to do towels, and depending if they're colored or not, you can always use one of these and then you put steam on and you're good to go. The other thing I like is when you put the clothing in, it rotates a couple times left and right, and what it does, it measures the weight, and then it'll come up with its determination on how long the wash is going to be, or if you want to add drying to it so you don't have to come out and check to see if it's done. You could put your drying cycles on and walk away, and when you come back, the clothes will be dry. Now, I will say this, there's been a lot of people putting on different forums, whether it's Amazon or PC Richards or Best Buy, that's saying, oh, it doesn't dry clothes, and that's nonsense. Here's the deal. It has a 4.3 cubic foot drum, which is pretty big, and it goes back pretty deep. So you can wash, first you can wash king size comforters in this. I have a king size bed. I have a queen size. I have two different type sizes of beds in here. You can wash both of them. Now, with your clothes, it has a level that it tells you right here. You can see that's your clothing capacity. Now, if you put clothes higher than this, you can. Nobody's saying that you can't. Now, if you pile the clothes up here, washing and drying, it makes a difference. So you can wash a bigger size load in here. Just keep in mind when you're drying, if it's above the line that I showed you here, it's going to take longer to dry those clothes. Now, I've had clothes up to here. I just did a load. And out of the whole load, the only thing that was still a little bit damp, which is totally dry, I put it on for 30 minutes, which I could have put it on less than that. I just put it on for 30 minutes. These are all dry. Sorry about that. It's dry. Now, the load that I put in, here's the load that I just took out. So it'll be all of these sweatpants, pajama pants, athletic tops, some boxer briefs, stuff like that I just put in there. And so you can take a look on the inside. You get these socks out. Here is your direct drive drum, also stainless steel, very nice. And you see how it moves around? That's the direct drive. It's beltless. So it could take the constant shaking around, but it balances itself while it's loading, while it's washing your clothes. And then you can see the little lines in here, and then there's some more lines. I don't know if you'll be able to see the holes in them, but this is where your steam comes out of. When you do the steam, you're doing your steam there in here, and then there's a couple over here where your steam comes out of. The only thing you have to do as far as maintenance wise, if you can see, I had some towels in here before. See how the lint tracks right here? Take a microfiber cloth, wet it. You get the lint out of here, which you can see trap in here. You take that out, and then the other thing you do is right down here. You twist this, and it comes out. It's a little lint compartment. You rinse it off, or you pull whatever's on there, and then what you do right here is you take this out. The hole stretches out, so you get your little bucket or little pan. You take the cap off, and you drain the remaining water out. Okay, because from when you're steaming or whatever, because it catches water for the steam, because it gets hot inside. Like this portion of the washer gets hot, but not to the point where it's going to burn you. It doesn't get that hot at all. But all in all, it's shutting off on its own. It's I love the washer machine. I love the drying to it. It does exactly what I want it to do. I was actually more impressed with how it works overall. Like, I don't regret a dime, and I actually got it, both units, excuse me, for a very good price. I was actually shocked how much it just went back up within the last week. It's gone back up to about $1,800 just for the top, and the pedestal is back at practically $700. So I mean, if you're looking for a wash and dryer and you don't want to put side by side, I've read where a guy in the reviews was so impressed with it, he bought 2 units and put them side to side. And I said, you know what, that's not a bad idea, because you have the option of washing and drying on either one. So it made sense. I mean, if you have the money to do that, do that. But if you want to get one unit where you can practically do both, and then you want a pedestal and you don't mind spending the money to get the pedestal, this way you have another washer if you have kids and you want to put the kids' light loads in there, or if it's diapers or anything, you can put it in there and keep the other stuff up here. The other cool thing is with the sanitary setting, that's specifically like for diapers, stuff that you want to keep separate from a normal load. So if you want to put something down there, or if you just want to do something with the sanitary to clean that before you do another load, you have the freedom to do that. I mean, one of the other cool things about this is the delayed wash. So I did that this past week, and I loaded the clothes that I wanted to put in there, all khakis. Just to give you an example, I put the detergent in, and I set it for a drying time. So a few hours later, when I left, I think I had to start like, say, maybe 4 o'clock. By the time I got home, the machine had maybe 7 minutes left when it was doing the drying thing. The one thing I did read in a review, the gentleman mentioned how when you have it set for delayed wash, when the wash is done, now this is the only thing I can't specify, is if the wash is done or if you add a drying to it and the drying cycle is done. It's one of the two, but what he did explain is that, say, for example, if it's just a washing that's done, you didn't set a drying time, you just did a wash. Once it's done, the machine will rotate your clothes, like, say, every 15 minutes. It'll tumble the clothes to avoid them getting wrinkled, and it's supposed to do that up until the point when you open the door. So if you're at work and, say, you have to do overtime and you had your clothes in there, it'll rotate the clothes until you come home and you open the door. At that point, then, you know, if you want to keep them back in, you have to start a new cycle. Or if you decide you want to dry them now, you could do your drying cycle. But as far as I could tell, when I did do the delayed wash, I did put dry. So when I did come home, like I said, it had 6 minutes. I left it. And when it was done, I don't recall it ever rotating. So I'm thinking that if you just do a delayed wash and you don't set a drying time, it'll rotate the clothes just to avoid them from sitting there and they get dry and they, you know, they start to wrinkle. So if that, I'll do a video on that. But if that's what it is, then that's pretty awesome. So I actually read it in a review and I watched the video where the guy stated that it does it, but he didn't specify if it's just a wash or if he added a dry. I think it was just a wash. But overall, I mean, the washer is great. It's heavy. It's about 254 pounds. You know, with everything going on with the coronavirus, they just did delivery to the doorstep. Or if you have a garage you're going to put it in, they'll bring it up to the garage, but they won't install it. But it wasn't hard. The only hardest part was lifting this to put on a pedestal by myself. But I did all the hookups. I got all the stainless steel hoses, and I enjoy it. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because I have no hiccups with it. I mean, I put the 5-year warranty just in case, but this was a very, very good washer. If you're looking for something, like I said, where you don't have the room, and you don't need the pedestal. You don't need a pedestal, period. Depends, it's, you know, personal preference. It sits high AS. I just got it for the simple fact that it has the secondary wash underneath, but, you know, just know your measurements, and if you, whether you have a small place or you have a big place, but you just don't want the washer and the dryer side by side, which I didn't want, this would be a perfect option. I know they have one that's, I think, 2.3 cubic feet, which is, you know, obviously smaller, but this one, for what it's worth, this is a great job by LG. I love it. And that's pretty much my review. If you have any questions, like the cycles, anything you want to know, you know, just send me a message, and like and share this. And hope everybody's safe during this pandemic. You know, everybody gets to go back to work and they well, your families are well, and everybody be safe. Peace.